Hello there, this is Alexander from Sinesquares.net, and today we're going to talk about another teenage engineering release and a quite controversial one, which is the teenage engineering TP-7. You've probably seen this around the internet. The TP-7 is a digital recorder and playback device. You can record audio directly through its 3 stereo inputs. You can play back files, you can play back your recordings, and you can also use it as a portable audio interface. It's also a really cool device for interviews. You can just press the memo button right here and record something immediately. And the very cool thing is that it has an app that transcribes any audio into a text file. That can be so useful when you're doing interviews. I mean, I've done this before and it's a pain to just take a video and then write down everything that you said. So that makes things much easier. I haven't used it yet for interview, but I'm planning to. And I can't wait to use the app to just have everything in a text file immediately. The onboard mic, as we said, is really cool. I'm just going to record something right now for you to listen. Test 1, 2, 3. This is the sound of the TP-7. It also has an onboard speaker that it's not really loud, but it's usable when you just want to listen to something that you recorded. It sounds like this. I don't know if you can hear that. Test 1, 2, 3. This is the sound of the TP-7. It kind of has like an answering machine type of vibe, which is really cool as an effect. So yeah. Test 1, 2, 3. This is this thing right here, this little thing right here that you can fit in your palm, packs a lot of features, a lot of functionalities. We're not going to go through everything you can do with the TP-7, but we're going to talk about the most important things that you can do with it and try to understand if this is something that you might need in your studio. Well, that's kind of easy to answer. I mean, you don't need a TP-7 in your studio. I don't think any studio needs this thing right here, but this is something that a lot of people want to have, and I can totally see why. So now I think it's time to go through the features of the TP-7, and then we're going to discuss how I feel about it. So now let's unbox this thing. This is the case you're getting with the TP-7. It's a really nice packaging, as you can see. Although I would honestly prefer having something that would allow me to carry this thing with me, like a case, because you're not gonna use that plastic thing when you're outside. But yeah, packaging for teenage engineering is always on point. To open this thing, you have to use that, and then you open it like this. And here you have the manual, and below that you have your TP-7 and a USB-C cable and the adapter for your headphones. Honestly, it's not that easy to take this thing out from this. You have that, but it's not that easy, so I'm gonna take this out first, which is also not easy. So you have this thing right here. We're gonna use this. We don't need that. Here you have your manual. Printed manuals are always a good thing. And lastly, here we have the TP-7. Well, as you might already know, yeah, this thing looks absolutely beautiful and it feels really good to hold. Everything feels great. Teenage engineering makes the most beautiful instruments and audio gear ever. I mean, no one can deny that. This is an absolutely beautiful piece of gear. This thing looks like a reel-to-reel tape recorder from the future. You cannot go wrong with any Teenage Engineering design. I mean, everything they make is beautiful. And I think that the TP-7 is like one of the most beautiful things you can have in your studio. So let's turn this on and discuss about its features. To do that, you have to use this knob right here. This is not my favorite way to open something. This also acts like a volume knob, and when you want to close it, you have to go and do that way back until it clicks. And now we are on. The TP-7 has a lot of things on board, a lot of buttons and a lot of, the sliders, the rocker right here. It has a lot of stuff, but it's not really that complicated to use. We're gonna start from the top. Here you have a USB-C connection and 3 stereo inputs that can also work as outputs. Really useful. Yes, they're pretty close and you have to use like small cables. Teenage Engineering has cables that work with their devices. I found these cables right here. I don't know what brand they are, but they just, fit next to each other. So that's good. On the right side, you have your 2 mode buttons that we're going to discuss about later. And this button right here, which is an instant recorder, that button works even when you have this turned off. So you can just press that and now you're immediately recording. You can see I'm recording my voice right now. Press that and now you're immediately recording. You can see I'm recording my voice right now. On the left side, you have this rocker that goes forwards and backwards to the tape. It really responds to your touch. I mean, you can go really, really slow and really, really fast. You can also use that to add some like wow and flatter as something is playing, but you can also do that using the spinning wheel. Then on the front, you have these plus and minus buttons that are used to navigate through the menu. You're gonna see me using them a lot. They do a lot of things. Now you can go through your recordings, but they also do other things. And also on the left side, you also have this button right here that gets you in the menu. The first thing that is jacks, and I'm using the spinning wheel to go through the menu. The most important settings that you have to set on your TP-7, I think they're the jacks, and now I'm using the plus button to go inside, and you're setting your levels for each input. Also the source that I have this an auto, but it's also digital or manual. Then another important thing is the mic that has a built-in compressor that you can turn on and off. It's a really good compressor and your voice actually sounds good when you're recording directly on the microphone, the TP-7. I really think that this can be an actual usable microphone in your studio. You also have your sample rate that can go from 48 to 96, but when you're recording on 96 kilohertz, you're just using 3 tracks instead of 6. File, record, system. In system, you can set things like the display's brightness or the LED brightness. You can see your disk, the amount you use. I'm just using 0.2%. I mean, this thing has 128 gigabytes of memory, so it's really, really hard to fill this up. I'm really glad they added so much space. I mean, when you compare this to the KO2 that has 64 megabytes, it's kind of insane. And you can also see your battery level. And of course, lastly, you have your record button, your play, and your stop button. So now we're going to use the OPXY to record something in the TP-7, and I'll show you what you can do with the sounds you record. We're going to press record and play, and then play your sound. Now we have something recorded, we can play it back. The thing I love about the TP-7 is that the spinning wheel right here, it's not like a gimmick thing. It actually does stuff. You can listen that I can scrub through a recording. I can go backwards and forwards. You can also use the rocker to go forwards and backwards. And the thing that I love to do when something is playing is that you can just move that thing and add some warble to your recording, or you can just slightly touch it. And I love that this thing has functionality and not only looks. I mean, it looks beautiful when it's spinning, but it's not just that. And you can just do that and stop something. So now let's go to the modes. Here you have your cue and your loop. In the cue mode, the TP-7 allows you to add cues and jump from one to another one. Here I'm adding cues. And now that I added 3 cues, I can go back and forth from 1 to 2 and 3, and when I press play, it starts from the point I set the cue. This is more of a DJ type of effect, so that's why I'm not really using it, but it is there if you want to do it. When you're in loop mode, you can just create a loop while something is playing. We're going to demonstrate that. To do that, you have to hold the record button as it plays. Now I saved a loop, and I can use the plus and minus buttons to make it smaller. And when you press record again, it releases the loop. So when you have something playing, if you press the play button again, it plays in reverse. And as we all know, everything sounds better in reverse. I have a video about reverse effect you should check out. No one saw that video, but I think it's really cool. So I'm gonna link this somewhere around here. And on the second button here, the second mode button, you have mix, which is just your volume for our track number 1 that we recorded. And my favorite thing about the TP-7 is the Varispeed. This is one of the main ways I'm using the TP-7. Recording an idea, I'm recording something, a loop, a small idea of a song on the TP-7, and I'm experimenting with different speeds and I'm trying out different vibes and tempos. This is my favorite thing about it. Once you have something playing, you can go faster and of course slower. That way, the same recording gets a completely different vibe. So now that we know how this thing works, we're going to discuss how I used it in the past couple of months that I have one. My favorite usage of the TP-7 is as a portable audio interface. This studio right here is not in my house. I have a separate space. So when I'm not here or I'm on vacation, I don't have access to most of my gear. And I didn't actually have a portable audio interface to use when I'm not in the studio. And the TP-7 works perfectly for that scenario. I was on vacation for a couple of weeks and the only things I got with me was my laptop, my headphones, my OP1 field and my OPXY, and this thing right here, the TP-7 as an audio interface and microphone. And that setup worked perfectly for me. The huge advantage of a setup like this is that it's completely portable. You don't have to plug anything on the wall and it just works. Everything I mentioned is portable and works on batteries. Also, I was really impressed by the quality of the microphone the TP-7 has. I was just using it like this as a microphone. And in the teenage engineering ecosystem, you can also have the TX6 as a mixer and audio interface that has more inputs. And there is also the CM15, which is a really good microphone. But this thing right here combines both of these things. I mean, it's not a mixer, but it has inputs so you can plug things in, and it also has a microphone. So just for that setup, I don't think you should spend like twice the money to get the microphone and the TX6, because with the TP-7 you have kind of both in one device. It's not better from the TX6 as an audio interface or as a microphone compared to the CM15, which is an incredible microphone, but it works adequately if you want to work remotely. And as we're talking about a portable scenario, I think that the 3 inputs that you have in here, the 3 stereo inputs, are more than enough. The second way I'm using the TP-7 mainly in my studio is as an experimental looper. This is really similar to the way I'm using the Blooper by Chase Bliss. I mean, I don't really care about looping something, but I do enjoy recording an idea and then completely destroying it with the modifiers. So using the TP-7, I'm doing the same thing, but in this case, I'm just using the Varispeed to change the speed and experiment with it. And that's a really fun way to experiment with your recordings. Can you do exactly the same things using your DAW and not a hardware device? Yes, absolutely you can do that. But the main difference doing that in your DAW and on the TP-7 is the hand-on approach. Changing the speed, reversing stuff, looping stuff, it's immediate on the TP-7, and that allows you to play more freely and experiment more using a hardware device like this one, which is always great when you're in that creative flow. Now you might ask, are those 2 reasons enough to justify the price of the TP-7? And for 90% of the people, the answer is always no. Feature-wise, the TP-7 has a really hard time to justify its hefty price. And that is also true compared to the other 2 smaller field products by Teenage Engineering. The TX6 can easily find its place into live setups. I've seen that a million times, people using it as a live mixer. The CM15 is a really good microphone, and microphones can go up to ridiculous prices, but the TP-7 is somewhere in the middle. But as with all Teenage Engineering products, the TP-7 is beautifully designed and engineered. Every component of this thing is custom made for the TP-7, and it does all the things that it promises. And yes, this is kind of a luxury item that can also do very useful things in your studio, but you have to be able to afford paying much extra for the things that it delivers. So yeah, the TP-7 is indeed very expensive, but once you have one and you try to forget the amount of money you paid for it, it's an incredible device. In any studio, you can do many things. It's portable, and it's like the cutest thing you have in your studio for life. I mean, you cannot find something more beautiful than this thing right here. And like a lot of things, yeah, the TP-7 is not something a lot of people can afford, especially for the things that it does. But no one can blame me that it's not an incredible portable device that's so fun to use and experiment with. So that was it. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you on the next one. Love ya.